Good evening. Good evening, everybody. This is a wonderful sight to see. It's been a long time since we've had a gathering like this, and I know if it wasn't restricted by COVID that this room would be overflowing. And it's really exciting to see the interest and the people that are here to see how this club goes. My name is Stephen Wolk. I'm the past club president, and I will be moderating the Meet the Candidates night. Again, I will ask everybody to please silence your phones or put them on vibrate. Silence your phones or put them on vibrate. There's a clone. There's a clone. Okay. Anyway, some of the rules and the way it works tonight. The candidates will speak in order. Silence the phone. He's not up here. It's the world of Zoom, folks. It's not easy. The candidates will speak in order. Previously, before tonight, we drew straws, and they're sitting in the order that they will speak. It was a random drawing. Each candidate will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. The Honorable Mr. Alan Lippitz is our official timekeeper, is in the front, and he will make sure that they understand when there's 30 seconds to go, and then when your time is up, and then you can button it up. After everyone speaks, there will be an open question and answer period. You may ask questions of any specific candidate or general. They all have the right to answer you or not to answer you, but you can pick a specific candidate or you can ask just general everybody up here at the table. I will determine the order of the candidates' responses. Candidates may or may not volunteer to answer the questions. Okay, for those watching on YouTube, you can submit your questions via email to townhall@gleneagles.cc. I've already received several questions, and then we'll have questions here, and we'll go through that. The following is the format for the question and answer period. Members can raise their hand. Once you're recognized by me, you can stand up. We don't have microphones to pass out, so please enunciate your question. I'll try to repeat it if they don't hear it. You're permitted to ask one question until all the other questions or people that have asked questions had an opportunity to ask. Then you will have the ability to ask another question. We're not looking for any speeches from you folks. We're not looking for your opinions or dissertations. Questions, and the folks up here will answer as best they can. No, obviously no personal attacks. I don't think that's going to happen here. The question and answer period will be very regimented due to the large number of candidates and the time element involved. This is our first year of online voting, and the administration of all voting, including mail ballots, is being done by an independent company in Minnesota. Emails and mail ballots were all sent out on January 10th, 2022. If you have not received your ballot, or if you voted and you decide to change your mind, you must contact Catherine Torino, assistant to Craig. Her phone number is 561-498-3606, extension 131, or email ctirino@gleneagles.cc. Those must be in by January 31st. And all ballots must be received prior to Monday, February 21st at 5 p.m. And then the following day, the new board will be announced. So that's kind of the layout. And we're going to start the speaking right now. And the first candidate to speak is Roger Padover.
Can everyone hear?
Good evening. Welcome. Good evening. Good evening and welcome. My goal in running for the Glen Eagles Board of Governors is to assist in the current and future success of Glen Eagles. My wife Rona and I moved to Glen Eagles 4 years ago, and we've become very active members in our community. We are year-round and government members, living in a condo in Clooney Place. We have 3 children and 4 grandchildren. I would be honored to represent all our Glen Eagles members as we face important decisions in the coming years. Some of these decisions include maintaining a forward-looking strategic plan, ensuring we protect our members and staff, and investigating infrastructure improvements such as the Victory Course renovation and a future clubhouse renovation. My construction, real estate, and business experience, plus what I have learned by being part of the oversight for the community maintenance facility and the veranda renovation, will be an asset to Glen Eagles. With my construction background, I'm sure that I'll be able to add to the diversification of the board as we move forward with large projects. I have served on the following committees: the Budget and Finance Committee for 3 years. I have been through 3 budgets, a normal budget, a COVID-adjusted budget, and a budget coming out of COVID, hopefully. I have learned how the club operates financially. The Oversight Committee. I visited the project sites frequently, reviewed requisitions, budgets, costs, requested breakdowns on change orders, and assisted in negotiating change orders, saving the club money. The Long Range Planning Committee, which forecasts the funding for capital improvement projects over the next 5 years. This is a 5-year plan focusing on improvements to the Glen Eagles community, a plan that I am well familiar with. The Design Control Committee maintains safety and proper construction standards. We are also new member ambassadors. In the past 3 years, I have attended over 40 meetings a year. I understand the commitment needed for the position. As you all know, Glen Eagles is evolving. In the past 7 years, we have welcomed 946 new and active members through our 525 sales. Yet, we must remember the needs and interests of those who have called Glen Eagles home for many years. The board's mission at Glen Eagles Country Club is to provide our members with exceptional golf, fitness, wellness, tennis, dining, and social experience. Glen Eagles is a strong, financially secure, and friendly club, a great place to live. Working together, we will continue to make it even better. I am committed to seeing Glen Eagles seamlessly and successfully move into the future, recognizing the needs of both existing and new members in all age groups. I am asking for your vote for the Board of Governors. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Now, Greg Benson.
Hello. Good evening. I'm Greg Benson. My wife Deborah and I have been year-round residents of Glen Eagles since October of 2012. Tonight I am here with 8 other candidates. Only 5 of us will be elected. Through their resumes and tonight's presentations, my fellow candidates will have told you about their experience. I'm going to explain what I believe I will bring to the board, thereby providing you with some reasons to vote for me. As have many others, I served on numerous boards before I came to Glen Eagles. I was president of 2 of those boards and treasurer of a 3rd. Working on those boards gave me lots of experience, which benefit me on the Glen Eagles board. For example, I have extensive experience working on strategic planning, managing a changing fiscal environment, and collaborating with management. At Glen Eagles, I've been honored to serve on a group of important and strategic committees consisting of the Budget and Finance Committee, the Asset Recovery Committee, the Advisory Committee, and the Intermediate and Long Range Planning Committee. Through service on those committees, I have extensive experience with Glen Eagles management, with the finances and the financial and strategic planning of Glen Eagles, as well as with certain legal matters at the club. Through my numerous board and committee memberships, I have demonstrated a strong ability to debate in a collegiate manner and demonstrate and contribute to the work of a board. I've had the opportunity to demonstrate my ability to work with many of the Glen Eagles management team through my committee work and observe the close working relationship that team has with the Board of Governors. I believe that thorough analysis and critical thinking skills are important attributes for a member of the board. My training and many years of practice as an attorney have given me the skills needed to thoroughly and critically analyze an issue, as well as prepare and review for accuracy and clarity written material. This is particularly useful when the board is faced with extraordinary issues, risk assessments, and when addressing grievances, as well as when the board is preparing written materials, such as minutes, rules, policies, and bylaws. I believe that we belong to Glen Eagles because it provides us with a wonderful community filled with caring members. That culture, together with our beautiful facilities, fiscal soundness, excellent management team employees, and dedicated forward-looking Board of Governors, is what sets Glen Eagles apart and makes it the wonderful place that it is. Support of those attributes is paramount, and that is also what I would bring to the board. For these reasons, I hope I have earned your vote so that I can contribute to the fine work of the Board of Governors and ensure the continued forward-moving success of Glen Eagles Country Club for the benefit and enjoyment of us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg Benson. Now Trudy Cleos.
Hello and good evening. My name is Trudy Cleos, and I'm asking you to elect me to the Glen Eagles Board of Governors. My husband Saul and I have been visitors to Glen Eagles since 1995, as my in-laws lived across the street at Huntington Lakes, and we had friends both living and visiting here. In 2012, we made the decision to buy and remodel a condo and become snowbirds. We looked nowhere else but Glen Eagles, as we knew this is where we wanted to live. In 2018, we purchased and renovated a house. In September 2019, we took the big step of selling our home in Connecticut and becoming full-time Glen Eagles residents. I love it here and want to play a role in helping to keep Glen Eagles a thriving and successful country club. I have more than 30 years of healthcare financial experience. In addition, I have served for 6 years on the Glen Eagles Budget and Finance Committee. My deep experience in finance, and particularly in healthcare, means I will be able to give meaningful assistance in the budget process and also in the negotiating of healthcare and other contracts. I feel that my previous financial background and my familiarity with the club's budgetary process will be an asset in achieving Glen Eagles' short and long-term goals. I have held leadership positions in several organizations. These include the New Jersey Hospital Association, where I helped launch the price by diagnosis for Medicare hospitalized patients. I was also on the board and was treasurer of synagogues in both New Jersey and Connecticut. I have been attending board meetings for many months to see what is expected of board members. From watching our current board, I can see that it's important to give great consideration to both sides of many issues which arise. I see that it is important to be decisive, as decisions must be made and cannot be delayed. I'm a very fair person and am willing to look at both sides of issues. I pledge that I will not let my personal relationships or any personal agenda get in the way of the important work of the board. When people relocate to Florida, they have a choice of where they live. I feel I can help make Glen Eagles the place they choose. I hope I've earned your confidence and your vote, and that you will elect me to the Glen Eagles Board of Governors. Thank you.
Thank you, Trudy Cleos. Now, Jay Horowitz.
Hi, thank you for coming out tonight on this cold and wintry evening. My wife Rita and I have lived in Glen Eagles for almost 4 years, and we are full-time residents now. But first, before I start, I want to thank our entire management team who have helped us get through this trying COVID period. Now, a little background about me. I've been a CPA for 50 years and a financial advisor. I've been treasurer of my New York City co-op, that was fun, and president of the condominium where I had lived on Long Island. I've spent 40 years managing employees, providing client advice, auditing businesses of various sizes, including co-ops and condominiums. I have multiple applicable skills that I think have prepared me to serve on the Glen Eagles board and serve the members of the club. Some of these are the ability to understand and resolve serious, complex financial issues and work closely with our accounting department, CFO, and outside auditors. So how did I get here today? Well, let me tell you a bit about my prior Glen Eagles accomplishments as a member of the Budget and Finance Committee. I have advised on our IRS audit. I recently advised on the settlement of the Florida sales tax audit. I advised on financial aspects of dealing with the fallout from COVID-19 and helped to obtain hundreds of thousands of dollars in payroll tax credits as a result of keeping our employees fully engaged during the worst of the COVID period. I'm currently working with management, beginning negotiations of new financing for future large capital projects such as the East Golf Course and major clubhouse renovation. I'm working to evaluate the needs for financing to allow already scheduled capital projects to go forward. These may require financing due to the shortfall from the reduced new member fees resulting from decreasing sales. As a member of the Long Range Planning Committee, I created the Capital Improvement Cash Flow Planning algorithm, which we now use to determine how we will manage proposed future projects. And speaking of those proposed future projects and the monthly assessment, let me be frank with you. In order to keep the club relevant, moving forward, and improving the club's infrastructure, it may not be possible or realistic to maintain an approximate monthly $200 capital assessment threshold. In the years to come, this may be as a result of the rising costs of materials, supplies, labor, inflation, and increased interest costs. Let's talk a bit about the future. I will try to have a pulse on the club and not be a stranger to Glen Eagles. Let's remember, we are a diverse membership. We've had 500 more new purchases in the last 5 years. We must focus on solutions to issues for new members as well as find a balance with our tenured members. And so the club must continue to grow. It may sound cliche, but the board I hope to join must continue to plan for and work towards growth and change to meet our members' future needs. I am committed to listening to our members. It is how I work with my clients throughout my career and how I expect to collaborate with our members in the future. My goal, finally, to help the club meet its members' expectations and to leave the club in a better place and condition for future generations. Just remember, my name is Jay Horowitz, and I have no aliases.
Thank you, Jay Horowitz. Next is Howard Fogel.
Good evening. My wife, Harriet, and I are proud condo owners in Loch Marie. In my years at Glen Eagle, I served on the golf committee and played on the South County Golf Team in 2019. I serve presently on the House Committee, a committee that is concerned with all aspects of the exterior and interior of the club. To familiarize myself with the format and procedures of the Board of Governors, I attended most of the monthly meetings throughout 2021. I attended many of the Budget and Finance Committee meetings this past year, along with the 2 days of meetings in October where each department presented their financial needs and requirements for the next fiscal year. Raised in New York City, I attended the City College of New York, receiving a baccalaureate degree in 1964 and a master's degree in 1966. 1966 was also the year that I began my professional career at Bronx Community College. I instructed classes in human anatomy and physiology to potential medical students, nursing students, and students in various allied health curricula. I became the coordinator of the courses, developing with a colleague the course manuals containing student responsibilities and study guides. Besides my teaching responsibilities, I was active in college affairs. I was the chairperson of the faculty council. This group of faculty members met often to discuss pertinent issues that arise at the college. I served in this role until my retirement. In addition, I was elected by the faculty to the City University Faculty Senate. The Senate met often with the Chancellor of the university to discuss policy. Along with my professional life at Bronx Community College, I was accepted into the doctoral program at New York University. Taking courses and carrying on experimental research resulted in a doctoral thesis. I was awarded my PhD in 1978. In our hometown of New City, New York, Aaron and I were members of Conservative Synagogue for over 40 years. I was involved with the Men's Club and served as president of this group. I also served on the Synagogue Board of Trustees for many years. Last year, I was delighted to present the sermon at the Yom Kippur service conducted by members of Glen Eagles. This sermon was warmly received by our country club community. Living in New City, New York, I was commissioner of the Softball League. I was a player manager of the softball team for over 20 years. I was a certified New York State umpire for 26 years. I was a youth baseball coach for 10 years. I believe I have illustrated my strengths in leadership. I am a creative person and interact well with others. I look forward to the challenges of the future to maintain fiscal responsibility. I have a passion for our club and am inspired to be part of the significant decisions that will occur in the coming years. I will do my best to represent all members and be open-minded to your points of view. I will work hard for the betterment of our community. I would appreciate your vote. Thank you for attending tonight.
Howard Folk, thank you. Sue Ellen Bates is next.
Good evening. Good evening. You've read my bio and my qualifications, so I'd like to tell you why I'd like to be on the board. Good morning, Camp Glen Eagles. At the golf course, head counselor Joe Domino has a full roster of morning golf on the Legends course. And if today is not your golf day, then Mike Puck will be overseeing the tennis courts, or Scott Harper can set you up at a pickleball game. Then enjoy a delicious lunch poolside in the grill room. In the afternoon, Tammy, our social activities director, has many things to offer. There is a Zoom lecture about Van Gogh, and for those of you who would like to learn, there are Mahjong and Canasta lessons. Or spend some time at the Healthy Lifestyle Center, working with a trainer, exercising on one of our state-of-the-art machines, or get a relaxing massage. After all your activities, stop into the lounge for a drink and some music before dinner in our Legends dining room, where the special tonight might be prime rib buffet or our very popular brunch for dinner. If bridge is your game of choice, there is open social bridge for you in the evening. Then it's time to go home, get some rest, and start again tomorrow. This is just a microcosm of a typical day at our club. Despite having to deal with COVID for almost 2 years, we are in a good position and everyone is enjoying their time here. Our management and board have gone to extensive lengths to keep the club running this well during the pandemic. I have attended most board meetings over the past 18 months, and I believe that there is even more that we can do to add to the superb lifestyle that we currently enjoy. Board members oversee the committees and take part in all that happens here. For example, Budget and Finance make sure that we have the money that we need to keep running as well as we are. Membership and Marketing create the pipeline we need to keep getting new members. Tennis keeps our courts up to date, and Golf and Greens make decisions concerning our fabulous golf courses. There are more committees at work, making sure that all of our members, young and older, women and men, have their differing and varied needs and wants met. A diverse board can present new and innovative ideas to you, the membership. Please consider voting for me. Our boards should be comprised of a variety of individuals, male and female, with different backgrounds and interests to best represent all of Glen Eagles. I believe that I have a lot to offer, and I'm committed to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Suella Page. Next one will be Arthur Cohen, who is on Zoom, so let's hope this works well. Arthur, you ready?
I'm ready.
You're on.
Good evening. Since no one in 3 minutes can tell you all the reasons why you should vote for them, before you vote, please watch my YouTube video. Click on the link in the email I sent, or go to YouTube and search Art Cohen, or turn on your TV using your Comcast remote, press the voice command button, and say, play Art Cohen on YouTube. Here's the short version. Most important is my track record at Glen Eagles. I serve or have served on budget and finance, asset recovery, long-term planning, legal oversight, and insurance. But they're not examples of what I've accomplished. Let me give you a few. This past year, by changing insurance companies, I helped to lower the cost of health insurance that the club pays, while at the same time maintaining comparable coverage. Before that, because of a federal tax audit and my proposal, the club's governing documents were amended with your approval. At the start of the pandemic, I helped identify the options and risks the club faced in selecting the appropriate financial relief available to the club from the federal government, resulting in a change of course and the club receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars in payroll assistance. Last year, I worked on the refinancing of the club's loans and thereby avoided an increase in our monthly assessments. I've been responsible for auditing and improving the club's contracting process for the last 3 years and obtaining refunds from vendors. And nothing has been more important than working on the club's annual budget for its capital projects and operating expenses. And that list goes on. Let me tell you about some of my ideas for Glen Eagles. I support new ways that the club can provide more services for us, like a concierge service for home repairs and other items. I support ensuring that our current monthly assessments are not increased, and I'm convinced we can do that. I support more frequent member feedback using technology, like SurveyMonkey or MailChimp, so management and the board always know what's important to us. And I support more aggressive pursuit of members who fail to fulfill their financial services, so we don't have to make up that shortfall. On a personal note, I'm 71, and Sue and I are full-time residents of Glen Eagles. Before retiring 2 years ago, I ran a national occupational health company as its VP of operations, and that was for over 20 years. While running that company, I also led an international trade association consisting of hundreds of our company's competitors. My competitors elected me as their chairperson. And before that, I was a business attorney in private practice for over 20 years. Vote for me, not because I'm a pretty face, because I'm not. Not because I'm life of the party, because certainly I'm not, but because I have the necessary business and professional experience and skills, which I absolutely do. And most importantly, because I've been using them for many years now to benefit Glen Eagles and ourselves. Please remember to check out my YouTube video. Thank you, and I'll see you at the club.
Thank you, Arthur Cohen. Next up is Mr. Harvey Fogel.
Can you hear me? Good evening. Public speaking for a pharmacist is not, because it's not come natural, so I may seem a little nervous, but winning in the next, being on the board for the next 2 years is very important to me. My wife Lois and I purchased a condo in 2003, and soon it was our home away from home, a place for family and friends to come and visit. Two of our friends that came bought here later on, and both of them have rebought other houses. So we realized that we wanted to stay here on a full-time basis, and we bought a home a couple of years ago, 5 years ago. And we love Glen Eagles, we fell in love with it, and it's a wonderful place to be. The last 22 months were very difficult to be on the board, as you can imagine. We serve on the board. While being on the board, so it was at home and very rewarding. Just the same, it was very difficult to be on the board, but it was very rewarding. Prior to serving on the board of Glen Eagles, I was 4 years on the Loch Marie board, which I did last year being vice president. I was a member of the golf community for 4 years. Also, I played in the South County League, and I enjoy regular golf and fitness center twice a week. I also have volunteered as a bike leader for the 5K run and 1 mile walk. Since my election to the board, I have been a very active member. I attend on many of the committee meetings, a lot of them. I attended 86 meetings last year, and have been associate governor for the Golf and Healthy Lifestyle Committees, and serving now on the board as governor for the Fitness and Membership and Marketing. I was on the Oversight Committee for the Healthy Lifestyle Committee, making sure that we came in on budget and saved money wherever we could. I have served the committees of animal control, board communications, and responsibility and accountability, among others. Most recently, I was co-chair of the COVID-19 task force. I call it a task force because we don't really know what it was. I was on a committee with assisting Glen Eagles in navigating the pandemic. I supported the leadership staff in their efforts to ensure financial performance and over the past year and continue strategic planning. I have proudly served as assistant treasurer, and I am now second vice president. I want to continue to help Glen Eagles move forward, and I wish to your support, and I wish that you would re-elect me to the Board of Governors. Thank you.
Thank you, Harvey Fogel. Take your microphone, Harvey. Next up is Richard Feldman. By the way, there's over 170 people on YouTube right now watching, so that's pretty good.
Hi, good evening. Hi, good evening. My name is Hi, good evening. I'm sorry. My name is Richard Feldman. I'm running for the board. I was going to present a written presentation this evening, but I thought I'd do something a little bit differently and play a game called Let's Pretend. Let's pretend I'm having a casual conversation with a buddy of mine. Let's call him Chuck. And Chuck says to me, Rich, why are you running for the board? It's a thankless job. There are meetings after meetings. People ask you all kinds of questions, even on the golf course while you're putting. And those that don't ask you questions are the ones that complain the loudest about decisions that you make. Why subject yourselves to that? I say to Chuck, look, I can give you the lengthy explanation and tell you that I've been an attorney for over 45 years with a particular expertise in contract and insurance law, that I've worked on the Budget and Finance Committee for the last 3 years, and I've used those skills to effectively work with that committee. I've helped the big board in drafting and revising governing documents, And I've worked with all of the association presidents in directing contracts relating to elevators and electrical charging stations. But the simple answer is, I love it here. This is my home. I've been here for 12 years. I just purchased a new house and renovated it on Stratton. I'm not going anyplace. I've been a part of its past, its present, and I want to be part of its future. And Chuck says to me, that's fine, but you know, it's a big responsibility to be on a board that has to take care of almost 1,100 families here up for the job. And I say to Chuck, look, this isn't my first rodeo. Back in the day, I was president of a civic association on Long Island that had more than 4,000 families. I was executive vice president and in-house counsel for a temple that had over 500 families on Long Island. And I was on my law firm, a national law firm, for over 16 years, and we faced the very same questions that this board faces every day: staffing, compensation, succession issues, labor management issues. So yes, I'm up for the job. And Chuck says to me, that's fine, but somebody's going to ask you, can you be an effective leader if you're not around, or somebody who's here every minute of 12 months? And I'll answer the question this way, Chuck. Chuck, you know that I have two little granddaughters, 4 and 2 years of age. I want to have a chance to watch them grow up. When I FaceTime with my 4-year-old, she asks, Papa, are you still in Florida? And when I speak to my little one, who's 2 years old, she runs around with a pacifier. I have no idea what the hell she's talking about, but she does use the word Papa and she does use the word Bobby. So she's either saying you can stay down in Florida and send me toys, or come back up to New York and play with me as much as you can. Look, I promise that I will faithfully execute my responsibilities as member of this board, just as I have on many boards and communities throughout my entire life. But please don't ask me any questions while I am on the golf course, because I have enough problems reading those greens. And if you do have any questions at all, I'm in the book, and you can always seek me out on the golf course. I'm the guy who's wearing those colorful compression socks for medical reasons. I figure if I can't hit a ball like Furman and Edelman and Culver, I may as well look good on the golf course. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I got to tell you, you got to be excited about what's going on here at Glen Eagles, really. I mean, this is an amazing group of people here that we have taken over my job. It's really, really exciting. Anyway, we're going to start the questions, so let's see if there's anybody in here that has a question. Gary Zuckerman, please stand up. Take your mask off so we can understand you, please. Thank you.
Can you tell us which members are on board and not?
Who's not seeking re-election? That's. No, our terms are over. Barbara Berkowitz, Judy Hotz, Deborah Benson, and Stephen Wolk. Okay? Okay, that's it? Okay, let's get out of here. Okay. Arnie.
Most of you, or many of you, have alluded to our need to cinch our belts because we have to redo the clubhouse and we have to redo the East Golf Course. I'd like to know a little bit more specifically what do you think we need to do to the clubhouse, and what do you think we need to do to the golf course, so we have some idea of what we are electing in the way of a burden of cash burden on it.
Just a general question to anyone up here,
Everyone
Arnie?
up there.
Okay. Anyone feels to answer? Let me know. Okay, Jay Horowitz?
So I'm fairly intimate with the capital budget schedule for the next 3 to 5 years, having worked to prepare it. We used to get a considerable amount of new member fees, joining fees, over the last 5 years. As you know, we've had about 100 sales on average for the last 5 years. That's not going to happen again, although we are proceeding pretty well in comparison to last year. But you asked, what are we going to do and why do we need the money? So the East Coast renovation, which I doubted, frankly, the first time I heard about it, But once I was educated as to what has to happen over there, drainage has to be done. It hasn't been done in over 16 years. We have to improve the bunkers that are starting to become troublesome. The greens and the tee boxes need to be retrofitted. And while we're at that, the car paths have to be done. There's landscaping that's going to be done. And then, of course, we might as well repair and improve the fairways. So that's the East Course renovation, to make it almost as nice as the Legends course. The other big improvement that we have to go through is this clubhouse. Healthy Lifestyle is gorgeous. The veranda now has been improved where it's an extremely nice place to see. But you walk into the rest of the club, this room is passé. We don't need this large cavernous place. Designers will come by, and one of the things I wanted to mention but didn't have the time in my 3 minutes, so thank you for letting me speak now, is to, come on, Steve. You asked the question. You know, we've used designers here at the club for many years, and we've gotten similar results, and I want to see that we bring in new, fresh designing blood, if you will, to redesign this place. The numbers that we're working on, probably between the golf course and this clubhouse, will be about $17 million. I'll bet it'll be more than that by the time we're done. So if you want us to keep on attracting new members, to keep this place, as people are leaving, attractive for new people, we've got to bring it up to par. We've got to improve our assets. We've got to fix our assets so they don't deteriorate. And that's the purpose.
Thank you, Jay. Anyone else want to make a comment? Mr. Benson?
I would just supplement what Jay has said. That money that he's talking about, while it's true, is not something that we're looking at in a bolus one-shot deal. We are looking at planning to roll into those numbers so that the impact on the members won't be all of a sudden this huge assessment. I don't want people to leave here thinking that. I know the board has endeavored for years to make sure that we try to keep the amount of assessment for the debt service at a reasonable level, and that's going to continue. And structuring of debt so that it doesn't come on until the debt is retired, things like that. And I would envision that would be the approach I would continue to take.
Thank you. Thank you.
Arnie, one of the things that we have accomplished on the board is to maintain a under $200 a month assessment. And we are been obligated to that from the very beginning. And like Greg said, we have planned to do that in such a way that we will not go over the $200 a month assessment. But I can guarantee you that we'll probably always have an assessment. It's just a matter of, we have to do things, we have to keep moving forward, and we probably will always have an assessment, but we're going to keep it under $200 a month.
Steve, could I just make one more comment? I don't want what I said to be misconstrued. I didn't say that it would necessarily be under $200. It would be as reasonable as possible, given what we need. But I cannot sit here and tell you today it's not going to be less than $200.
If I could just,
or more than $200.
it more than likely will go above $200. It'll be unreasonable to expect that we can do all the things that need to be done in this environment. We are beginning negotiations, Bank of America, our bank. We've had our banker here, he's coming back. And I will tell you that given interest rates, increasing costs, labor, materials, that the things we need to do will be such, it will be totally unreasonable for you to expect that we're going to keep that $200 threshold. So it's not going to happen.
Thank you. All right, I've got a question that from somebody sent in, Terry Oliver. Go ahead, Arthur.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to the issue of maintaining assessments, because I respectfully disagree with my good friend Jay. I think we can maintain it. Monthly assessments are used to fund capital projects. Monthly assessments received by the club are considered capital contributions, not subject to federal income tax. These assessments are used as collateral that the bank takes to secure loans for our projects. Without the assessments, no large project like the Healthy Lifestyle Center or the Community Maintenance Facility or the upcoming clubhouse renovation could be completed. New member capital contributions, as Jay said, are not enough to pay for these items. New member capital contributions are normally used for our annual capital expenses, like satellite renovations or new awnings for the grill room. But the amount of the monthly assessments are a direct result of the amount of the bank loan, the interest rate, and the amortization period. We've been successful controlling these items for years, and as long as I've been on the budget and finance and long-term planning committees, and that's why there's been no capital dues. We can continue to do that by carefully picking our projects, the timing of these projects and their completion, controlling their costs, and equally important, selecting the best way to finance and refinance our loans. We did that last year. Again, it's something we've been doing for years, and I support continuing to do that and doing our utmost best not to increase our monthly capital contributions.
Okay, I have a question from Terry Oliver. It's for as many candidates as possible that wish to answer. Briefly describe how you feel about this year's board's handling the pandemic, and would you have done anything differently? That's a tough question, but does anybody want to jump on that? If not, I'll answer it.
I'll answer it since I was on that task force. You have to remember when we looked at COVID-19, going back 2 years ago, or 22 months ago, or 23 months ago, when we looked at COVID-19, we had no idea how to do it. You know, Mr. Spena, for instance, when there's an emergency, he's got books and books and books on how to handle them, how to do it. We had nothing on COVID-19. So what we did was we met and got as much information as we could, and we decided what to do. And we looked at Glen Eagles as if it were a city, a small city, and how we could do to protect the people in that city. And that's what we did. I don't think, you know, when we look back, one of the things that the hardest thing we had to do when we were on the board was to close the club. I mean, it was the most difficult decision. And, you know, we felt terrible about it. And when we look back, how do we know? We probably saved a lot of lives by closing the club. So we got a lot of grief about it, but I think when people thought about it, it was the right thing to do. So I think that we probably did the best that we could with the knowledge that we had, and I don't think we would have done anything different.
Thank you, Howard.
Being a rounder, full-time member, I watched very much what the board did and the management did for us the entire period of time. I tremendously believe that they did the best possible job for us to maintain our existence. I'm basically a conservative person in that respect. The club had to be closed down. Things had to be maintained for our purposes. We were safe. There were very few cases in the club what they did during that period of time. In fact, we were very thankful for them. There was a very large card parade a year or so ago to thank the board and thank the management for being so wonderful for us. We survived this pandemic and will continue to survive it because of the job that they're doing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, thank you. Let me just add a couple of things. I mentioned in my resume that I am co-president of a small condo community up on Long Island. I also serve as managing director for a school for autistic children, about 25 students on Long Island as well. We were faced with these similar problems as well, and I can honestly say that we attempted to do about the best job that we could do in keeping open our school and making sure that our community residents were safe when we had meetings and the like. But I have to tell you, in comparing those two organizations with this huge organization that I call home here, I can tell you that I don't think there's anything differently that I would have done, and I really give great applaud to our committee here. I think Craig and Harvey and the rest of the board did an excellent job in keeping us apprised of a situation in terms of making certain that people were wearing masks when they should have, that people were identifying if they were exposed, if they tested positive, and the like. I've been in touch with a number of my friends who live in communities outside of this community, down here in eastern Florida, and they didn't do a microcosm of what we did here, and they suffered because of that. Well, we had very, very few cases of positive COVID. They had 30, 40 people or so. They had to make decisions on the fly. I think we weren't reactive, I think we were proactive, and I think we really owe a great attitude to this board. Okay.
Thank you, Richard. One other question that's on this same line, I don't know, I think we've answered it, but Brian Boyle wants to know, was the club handle the policies regarding closures and quarantine and guest rules? Do you feel they were too restrictive, not restrictive enough, or properly restrictive? And I think you kind of answered that. Does anybody want to comment? I think we did a great job. Thank you. Okay, please stand up and give us your name.
Ron Caden. This is a question for everyone, if I want to answer it. What is your feeling about quality and variety of food served in the grill room and bedrooms? And if you feel it needs improvement, how would you try to do so?
You're not required. If you want to answer, you answer.
I'll stick my foot.
I eat there a lot, and I'm very happy with what's going on.
So his question was, how do I feel, we feel, about the quality preparation of food in the various venues here? So I said I'd stick my foot in that. This has been a topic of conversation at the Budget and Finance Committee over some time. And, you know, it has a lot to do with the fact that over the last couple of years during COVID, we've had a very difficult time staffing, getting kitchen people to come here and work, to be able to come here and work while there were closures for COVID and so on. The one thing I will tell you that I say, and has been said by others, is that the food that's served here and how it's served here has to meet member expectations. One of the things that I said, or I may have said in a draft that I ripped up, is that one of the things I want to do on the board is to help reach member expectation. As far as food goes, in my opinion, it's good, but it's not great. Now I'm waiting to see what's going to happen on the veranda when it opens up and we get some fine dining in there and we have staff that's been professionally trained and reaches a different level. And I think that will change how you see the food here. We have a new executive sous chef. I think that's going to help us. I think over the last several months, I've seen an improvement myself in the food, but it's meeting expectations. And I will say to you that if I'm on this board and you have an issue with the dining room or the food or anything, or any other issue, contact me. I'm on the Glen Eagles app. My name is in there. You can call me or email me.
Thank you, Jay. Mr. Pato. Listen, just a little house rules. You guys had your chance for your speech and you're very eloquent. Please just keep to answering the questions so we can keep this rolling along. Thank you, Roger.
I've met the new sous chef, and I've been in the veranda tasting the samples, and they're absolutely delicious. And hopefully in the next week or two, we'll get food out, and we'll have it going. And I've also sat in on staff training in the dining room and supervised, watched. And we are moving in the right direction. It is going to go well.
Anybody else in the audience have a question? All right, let me read one of these. This is from Lisa Abrams in Clooney. Have you considered allowing members to more freely to move from social to tennis to golf, like many other local country clubs? We have our documents, and our documents are very specific how they are. We do have promotions where somebody can swap out a tennis or a golf membership. But does anybody want to elaborate on that question? Okay. Not sure what to look. Okay, question to all candidates. This is a good one. Will you vote for or against, or do you approve or not approve a dog park if it comes up for a vote? Hey, this is Glen Eagles, guys, come on. You gotta get some of those in there. Does anybody have a comment on the dog park? Mr. Fogel, then Mr. Feldman.
Right now, it's probably an unfair question right now, because what's happened with the dog park is it's gone back into the marketing and to relook at it because of some problems that we might have with it being on an outdoor part of the facility where we can't manage it. So it's going back out there. They're going to make their recommendation, and then the people here are going to, the people that are elected and the old board are going to vote it again. So as it stands right now, I was for the dog park, no question about it. But there's a problem with it, and the problem is that it's outside the facility, and there could be insurance problems. So as it stands right now, I'm probably against the dog park unless we can find a place to move it indoors. So it's really unfair to ask us now because it's going to come back to the board, and we'll hear both arguments and decide what to do then.
Go ahead, Mr. Benson.
I would just still like to say that this issue concerns amenities. We have amenities and we provide amenities for our members. For example, the Healthy Lifestyle Center and the spa, not everybody uses that. The gorgeous pool, not everybody uses that. We're going to put in a charging station. Not everybody has an electric car that's going to be charged. It's an amenity, and I think the board's responsibility is to look at those amenities and does it benefit the membership? And if so, I would support it, provided that we didn't have any additional liability issues or any of that nature, but it beyond the facts as presented at that time.
Thank you. Mr. Cohen.
Just a brief comment. To me, the dog park is a perfect example of where SurveyMonkey or MailChimp would enable both management and the board to have some input. Without having some input from the membership, I'm really unable to take a position on that.
Okay, thank you. Let me go through these then, Arnie, and then I'll come back to you, all right? This is from Barbara Rodman. Has the board, which, again, you guys aren't on there yet, but considered renovating the kitchen, especially in light of how small the area is? I'm not sure what kitchen they're talking about. I think they talk of main kitchen. And that would be done when the main clubhouse would be renovated, the kitchen would be looked into. But there's upgrades going to the kitchen all the time, equipment-wise. We have plans to strip the floors in there next year, which is a very big project. So I'm not sure. Does anybody here want to add anything to that? No. I'm not sure who this is from, Bell, Jack. Do you think that the serial rental issue can be dealt with in a different way so that we have more owners and thus more money? I'm not sure what that question means. I think they're talking about the people that rent their units year after year after year. I mean, that's their prerogative. They're owners and members of this club. So anybody want to address a rental issue?
Yeah, it's an
Mr.
issue.
Battle.
It's an issue that will be brought up and will be discussed, and we'll try to get the right resolution to it.
It's got board potential, let me tell you. This is from Rick Edelson for all the candidates. Many candidates have noticed the importance of the East Course and the clubhouse renovation. What about tennis? Only one candidate even mentioned tennis. Have any of you looked into the proposed renovation of the tennis facility and pickleball courts? Is this important to Glen Eagles? Although you may not play tennis, how will you support our tennis members? Mr. Benson.
I absolutely agree tennis is important. That's part of what Glen Eagles is. And I do know that plans are underway. They're looking at the design for that building. It's not something that's being ignored. It's actively being looked on, and worked on, and concept plans for the renovation of that facility are underway. So it is not something that I feel is being ignored by the board at all.
Including there are plans to expand the pickleball facility. So that's underway too. The Budget and Finance Committee that we sit on has looked at improving the tennis facility, and there are definitely plans, and there's also money allocated for that as well.
Thank you. All right, Arthur Cohen, I've got about 5 emails here regarding concierge service and your maximum $200 a month assessment. So I know you've touched on some of that a little bit. You want to add a little bit to that without getting into a long-winded speech?
Nothing to add to maintain assessments, but let me talk about the notion of a concierge service. Like other clubs, Glen Eagles would love a concierge service. Operated by the club, who would provide a variety of services for all of us. These services would include maintenance and home repairs, like cleaning dryer vents, carpentry, caulking, drywall repair, tile repair, painting, and more. Helper services like luggage handling, loading cars, carrying groceries could also be provided. Based on what other clubs charge, the cost would be about $55 an hour. Repairs and services would be provided by club employees. Another feature of the club could be to operate a 3-cycle type of personal property sharing. For example, if your grandchild was coming to visit, for an administrative fee, the concierge could arrange for the loan from another club member using an internally created database of such things as a crib, a high chair, or a stroller. You get the idea. Popular items could be purchased and stored by the club in the new community maintenance facility and rented to us. As always, these ideas would first be thoroughly vetted by a committee and then a community-wide survey monkey to determine interest, with it ultimately going through the various committees up to the board for a final decision.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Greenspan.
I guess we have talked about the dog park a little bit. I'd like to know, we almost had the dog park and the change went, never was the membership asked, what do you think about the dog park? Was it solicited? Was it asked? The board had decided to go with it, now subsequently changed their mind. If you want to know what the membership thinks, why not ask?
Okay, great. As I will use Mr. Spena's wording, you're not silent sufferers here at Glen Eagles. I've learned that over time. The board did make a decision. It hasn't been reneged and it hasn't been canceled. Right now, it has been approved. So it's in limbo to what's going on, but it has been approved. So, well, I understand. You guys want to answer that question? I mean, I'm on the board, so I know what my answer. Mrs. Boudreaux.
I'll answer. I believe we're going to put that on the next survey, and we will find out what the public feels about it.
Ms. Boudreaux.
I listened to all of you talking about a dog park. What about a park for children? You have a younger population here who has children coming to visit, and there are no facilities unless they come on our driveway and play basketball. There is no facility for children.
Now, that's a perfect example of another one of the benefits that we can provide would, again, is there enough of an interest? I think it would certainly be something that a board would want to look at.
I agree.
Doris, the only real problem, we've looked at that and always feel like that. The problem is that we are really landlocked. And we have no place to really put. What we wanted to do was look at one of the satellites and put in basketball court, bocce court, child's spot, but nobody wants to give up their satellites. And we have we're really landlocked. We have looked at this before. And like Greg said, the board will look at it again, and we can find a place to do it. I'd be one of the first ones to agree with you.
I've seen at another club that we were at, Snowbirds, Local West. a number of years ago. They had a wonderful dog park. They had facilities for children, but that's a tremendously large community. They had the land to build those kinds of things. And I have to agree with that point of view that we really do not have the land. Something has to give in order to put in child facility. I agree with that point. I definitely do. It should be. I've seen children during our special times, our holiday times, wanting to have other facilities to utilize to play. And we just don't have that. I think that is a major issue that the board has to consider in years to come. What are we going to do with all these children that come during Thanksgiving time, during Christmas time, etc.? Dog park, again, just coming back to that, if it can't be on this particular facility, it has to be outside. It might be built, it'd be very expensive to build. I question how many people are going to come on a continuous basis, leaving the grounds of our community to go up by the Casabella area to utilize that facility. And I understand the board needs to consider the insurance issue. There is an insurance issue as far as using that facility. So, thank you.
Just stand up and give your name and speak up. Larry Lazarus, what is the situation with electric chargers? Where they put them? When do they expect to do it?
I can answer that. The electric charging station will be down in the valet area. You leave the car with the valet, they'll take it down there, put it on the charger. You'll be charged for the time of electric that you're using, a nominal fee which will go through to the company that's installing it. And they'll leave the car for you, go pick it up. It's getting put in now, the permits are done. We're gonna run the electric. It should be up and running, I hope, within a month, maybe 6 weeks. Young lady in the back, you have a question? Can you stand up and give your name, please?
I'm Harvey Feldman. My question is it possible to try to read all the information that comes? But because the general population does have to financially support the decisions made by board members, is it possible that more surveys could be sent out before a decision is made, that the general population can have some input into what's being proposed?
I can't answer that, Mr. Spena, but we do send out a lot of surveys, and we are not against sending out surveys. So I'm sure that that's a positive thing, that we will always look to get the response from our membership if we're doing something. That's why we do roundtables, and we'll do surveys where they're necessary. Sometimes surveys go out, you can't overdo it. There's a fine line between people don't want to see it anymore, but we're very pro-survey at this club. Kathy? Stay up, just give your name. Stand.
About the dog park, as you said back there, this is something that this community has to
Can't hear.
Children.
Mrs. Cohen feels it's important to have a survey regarding the dog park and the child playground, so, well said. Anyone else have any questions? Come on, guys. Who? Richard?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. You know, all of these questions are excellent questions. Candidly, though, I think they're best asked of the board or a general manager, and not candidates who want to be on the board. We have opinions that we will share, but you know, we're going to make decisions based upon the facts, based upon cost, based upon need, and the like. So while I think I speak for most of us, while we appreciate the questions, direct them to a general manager, direct them to the president of the board, and any of the board members. Those are the people who are wearing those little green buttons. I'm sure they'll make sure that those questions get directed to the right person, and those questions will be answered in due course.
Thank you very much. You have a question, Ms. Howard?
No, for the annual meeting.
Well, we're very transparent. I'm very proud of my years on the board here. We're very transparent, and we listen to the members, and not everybody agrees with everything. We've got 17 to 1,800 people that live at Glen Eagles. And I think we've got the greatest community that you could have anywhere. I know all the other clubs, you all have friends and everything here. They all want to live here, okay? But just by the turnout here tonight and the people, Scotty, how many more people you have on YouTube there?
It's about 180.
Yeah, I mean, it's tremendous because everybody's got a lot of things to do. I know they got to catch up on Ozark and all those other shows. But I'm really proud of the candidates that we have here that want to be active at this club and put the time and effort in. Almost all of them, most of them have been at all of our meetings and they're very well versed in what's going on here. But like Richard said, they're not board members, so they haven't had any say in the decision making. So I think they've answered it very well, and I appreciate all your questions, and I really appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Rowe, real quick. Oh, hold on 1 second. It's me.
And excuse me, give me your name, please.
I'm Craig Spena, and I'm running for the board as well. Now, you know, Mrs. Hammer brought up a really good point, and it was very hard for me not to say anything this evening, for those of you that know me. But our annual meeting, I would welcome every single one of these questions and more. It's really important. Our annual meetings, we generally don't get the turnout that we would like. Seeing this evening, seeing the turnout, send questions beforehand. You'll get to see the results of the elections as well, but I would welcome the opportunity to answer questions at the annual meeting. Please attend, or at least send your. That doesn't mean that my email is not available, because it is. Set a meeting with me, round tables, and Kristen and I are going to work on making available for your access all the surveys that we've sent, because I can fill your days, probably weeks, with surveys that we've sent out, and survey after survey. So we're going to make those available so you can see them. And I don't want to answer any questions because I've done a good job not saying anything tonight. Annuals, emails, in person, round tables, whatever the case is, I'm always happy to chat with you. And I want to commend this group here. It's very difficult sitting up here. You did a really good job, and I look forward to working with the 5
I think I actually just had a cancellation.